Bronwyn wasted no time, called out. Angie pushed her to go into detail. Bronwyn brought up the 5 lawsuits that were publicly posted in the Salt Lake City Tribune, and I'm sure many other places, that one of them being that she's being sued for not paying back $400,000 in loans. These aren't things that could be resolved in a week. So if Lisa knew she was coming back, she could have, number one, wanted to go to those premieres, and number two, it all seemed like it happened days before, that it was public and they could say, like, it's printed in the Tribune. So I do wonder, maybe she was just strategizing. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers? Amanda, we have so much scoop.
We really do. Hi, B. Hi, cocktailer.
Hi. I mean, Salt Lake City, out of control. We're going to get so deep into it. I feel like we're really breaking down the episode, which we don't always do, but we're excited it's back, and this episode deserves it.
Totally. Just what's been coming in the inbox, what you've been getting in DMs. There's definitely some stuff going on at Bravo this week.
Yes.
Both that's, been told to us. Both that's been like public and both stuff that's been just shared with us by sources. So we have so much today, guys.
It makes sense. It's the fall. Summer's over. Everyone's back in action. I know even we're a little bit slower in the summer. And I mean, like, we're as far as like my DMs and stuff like that, because people are out and about. People are traveling. Fall, people start like back on their regular schedules and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And so I feel like that's right. Yes.
Yeah,
and they're preparing for BravoCon. And so they're getting their panels together. And you're going to announce something that looks very much like a Summer House Spinoff panel. You kind of want to announce it before so that you can name it the Summer House Spinoff panel. Like, those kind of things are what we're going to be getting. Wife swap. I would like to say BravoandCocktails.com. That was an anonymous email with the entire cast in its entirety. It was sent to us in April of 2025, right? Yes.
But I think we got something even well before that.
We got a tip well before that.
Yes.
And we got the cast in April. We posted both of them. So for everybody who says that our emails are bullshit, listen, once in a while we get an email about sloths. The vast majority of emails we get are pieces to puzzles.
And you guys, this is why it pays to be a cocktailer, because
oh my God,
you hear it,
especially this month.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so speaking of Summer House Spinoff, we got to start there.
Okay, so everybody's been buzzing. Like, I mean, since The Valley came out, I feel like you and I, fans, everybody has been like, well, so they're going to do this with Summer House, right? Once Lindsay got pregnant, we're like, okay, well, where's the spinoff? Kyle is 43 years old. Where's the spinoff? So we posted on August 8th from a extremely reliable source, and they worded it as Lindsay Hubbard's spinoff starts filming September 1st. That was all we had at that point, okay? I did hear after that filming was pushed to mid-September. We shared that with everybody. Then on the next day, they said, I don't have a lot of details about Lindsay's spinoff other than it will start filming in September. As for who else will be on the show, I know they were speaking to some of her friends, not from the show, but I'm not exactly sure who's been cast. I'll let you know when I have more details. So we waited, and at the end of August 22nd. Oh, this is when they were filming at that dog event.
Right.
So then on September 1st, when they were supposed to start filming, we were exclusively told by a source. We posted it. Cocktailers know that Andrea Denver and his wife Lexi were going to appear. We heard that Luke may make some appearances. Paige opted out. She chose not to do the show. And days later, we added that we had on good authority that Amanda and Kyle would appear.
Which just makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we're comparing this to the People article, they said that they weren't provided cast, but obviously it's written by Dave Quinn, who's got them all on speed dial. So
I would only imagine how he has to take notes. Like when he is talking, like he probably is like, well, cannot share, can share.
I mean, he was invited to Lindsay and Carl's wedding, so
yeah,
there's that.
Yeah.
So I'm very confident that he said Andrea, as we said. He said Amanda and Kyle, as we said. He said Luke may appear. You guys know that I feel like the Luke may appear is Lindsay being a really good friend and trying to get her friend on the show. I don't know that I'm convinced he'll appear. And I could take him or leave him, to be fair.
Same.
They did say they don't know if Carl will be on. My feeling on that is if Kyle is full-time, I absolutely think that we will see Kyle and Amanda go over to Soft Bar and hang with Carl. I don't know that I see him being in a bigger capacity than that unless he can somehow get a storyline going, which would have to look like something other than his business, something in his personal life, like a relationship. I don't know. I don't know how that looks. It was worded to us as Lindsay's spinoff, but clearly it's going to be a broader thing. Oh, and her friends in real life. Oh, that's the other email we got. So after, it wasn't really a teaser, so it wasn't really a trailer so much as a teaser because they haven't even started filming.
Right.
It just showed like the city and then like the Hamptons house. So this was the email we got today. Lindsay, Kyle, Amanda will officially leave Summer House after season 10 and lead their own spinoff. Andrea Denver and his wife Lexi will be on the show and expect appearances from Luke too. Other castmates will be friends of Lindsay's and Kyle's who are also married, have children. Basically, it will be the Valley, but in the city. Filming is now early December. I didn't even realize that. Yvonne Major, who we mentioned, that it's the friend she was always posting that we assumed would be on it, and Erin Frankel are two of Lindsay's friends in the mix. Bravo is dropping a lot this week, and one might think, why so much when BravoCon is only 2 months away? Let's just say Bravo has even more in store for BravoCon.
So exciting, but disappointing that they're not filming until December.
Is it? Because then we get the holidays in the city.
That's true. I guess they just can't call it summer in the city.
I also take it better because I was envisioning them keeping production up and doing a short little couple episode thing.
Yeah.
And if it's moved to December, I think this means full production, full cameras up, the whole shebang, which will give us a better show. And I know that RHONY casting is still going on. Nothing is decided. We have a million emails that maybe we'll get to and try to put that puzzle together. But I sort of feel like this is taking the place of RHONY in some ways for now.
Who? I don't know. And we know, too, that is it Yvonne who is having a baby any minute? So that would make sense, too.
I don't know if
one of Lindsay's friends was pregnant and having a baby any minute as well. We know that I was going to maybe be on the show. So,
yeah.
I just can't remember off the top of my head which friend it was, but I think it was Yvonne. But it's good, you guys. It makes sense, right? Because we've been feeling like this for a while, that it's just making less and less sense for Kyle and Amanda to keep doing the same thing. I'm sure as they are feeling like they're probably not wanting to feel like one-trick ponies or one-dimensional, like wanting to show more of all the other stuff that they are doing in their lives as well. Lindsay in her new life as a mom in the city. I think it all makes sense. And I think I like it that Bravo seems to be listening to people. It's like, we don't want to lose some of our favorite people, but we don't necessarily need to see them doing the same thing over again, right? So it's cool to see Bravo making space like they did with the Valley, like they've done with Next Gen in a different way, and like they're doing with this spinoff, letting us see a different stage and part of these people's lives that we love so much, because we miss our RHONY OGs. And I think this is part of them listening and saying, okay, well, let's try to make a new space, because clearly the Valley did very well So
And I also think when it was presented as Lindsay's spinoff, I think you were the first one, and a lot of the cocktailers were like, okay, but can Lindsay carry a series? And obviously she wouldn't be carrying it, but if it was all new people, it would feel that way. And whether you love Kyle or not, he makes good TV.
he does.
And Amanda's very likable. A lot of the feedback is like, Amanda's boring. But you have Kyle, you have Lindsay. Amanda kind of balances that out. I would never call Andrea and that beautiful face of his boring, but he's a calm cat. You know, he's not going to be having blowout fights with Lexi, I don't predict.
Right.
And we don't know Lexi. I'm excited to see
I agree.
what they're all about.
Okay, I'm dying to talk about Salt Lake City.
Yes.
So I got to first start out by saying, brace yourselves, B and cocktailers. This feels really shocking for me to say, but watching the show last night, I feel like Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is my favorite show, period. Like, I haven't been this excited for the premiere of a new show in so long. So, I mean, like, not just Housewives shows, just all of them. I so enjoy this show. And this episode absolutely did not disappoint.
See, that doesn't surprise me because way back to the days of us recording in closets, even through the Jen shot of it all, when I was like so disgusted and like watching for the pod, you still always loved Salt Lake. There's something about the city itself and the Mormon of it all.
This cast too, they're just so, all of them, they're just all so funny.
And together it works.
I agree.
It's a perfect recipe. I have to tell you, I loved Whitney's prank. I wanted to know what you thought. When the police rolled up, like, and they ended up being strippers, for a second, and I know we would have heard about it if she was actually arrested, but I mean, with all her MLM schemes and legal issues, I have to guess that some of the ladies really thought she was being arrested for a second.
Yeah.
But I'm with Mary. Where are the muscles on those strippers?
I agree. I thought it was great. I had a feeling something was up just because they did not spend a lot of money on their SWAT costumes. So I kind of had a feeling, but I love it that like wild stuff just happens in the beauty lab and laser parking lot. It was obviously a really nice callback to the whole Sprinter van situation. Harmless, really funny. Completely agree with Whitney. It's a fun way to kick off a girls' trip. And yeah, I agree with you. But like at the same time, Whitney said, it's really hard to find strippers in Utah, which makes sense, right? Probably not a ton of audience there and probably not a lot of stripper guys.
Can I just say, when they were like, wait, where are we? Like, where are we going? And she was like, oh, an hour up, like an hour north. And Brittany's like, we're going past my house. And Mary said, oh, good, we can drop you off. She is a comedian. Like, I get that she's not even meaning to be funny, but like she is, but she isn't. You cannot. I love her. I don't care. I love her. You can't make me hate her.
I agree. I was going to actually try to draw out like who's mad at who, because even when Heather was kind of trying to straighten it out and she was like, with Mary, I don't know who Mary is mad at. It's really hard. That's just Mary. And, you know,
yeah,
people are mad at Lisa and Lisa's mad at, it really does feel like nothing was really resolved coming out of the reunion, even though Bronwyn and Heather seemed to have a great moment, the reunion, and we saw a quick flashback of it. Pretty much everybody seems like they're all kind of mad at each other, and then there's been some kind of a new alliances formed. But Mary, her faces and her expressions, and then she's supposedly helping with this trip, but then they get to this campsite and she just goes, I don't like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So funny. I love it so much. So we see Brittany literally on the RV. They haven't even gotten there yet. Call out Whitney. Whitney is also complaining that Lisa is not on the girls' trip. And she's like, well, they're like, why isn't she here? And who is it?
Brittany's like, work. It's work.
It's work. It's work. And so then, we start to hear a little bit about like, well, is it really just work? And then Brittany goes right back to Whitney and says, well, your business is getting called out like crazy all over the internet. And you guys know we've talked about this in the past that Whitney started an MLM, a multi-level marketing business, which like Avon ladies were the original MLM. But we had heard that the business did not survive. We did have a cocktail post, so I'll read that really quick. So it says, regarding the SLC housewife who's on a healing journey and her financial troubles, it says, I follow the anti-MLM community as a hobby, and the MLM she launched, as one does in Utah, was a fucking mess. It ended up crashing out pretty bad. I did watch the opportunity call, and it was as if they had no direction with a bunch of products, plus self-love and manifestation courses. I remember they scammed people by having them sign up to an in-person event that they ended up canceling.
The origin story of Caraway is pretty wild. So years ago, Caraway's founder and CEO, Jordan, accidentally overheated a non-stick PTFE, aka Teflon, coated pan and got sick with Teflon flu. The pan was black and fuming. After this, he looked into the problem. He found out that it only takes 2.5 minutes for Teflon-coated pans to heat to 500 degrees Fahrenheit and begin releasing toxic chemicals in the air. So obviously this inspired him to make a toxin-free cookware line. I personally love their cookware. It is beautiful. The color options are my favorite part, even though I originally bought them because they were toxin-free. I recently added to my cookware collection with their bakeware set. It's 11 pieces, all featuring a toxin-free ceramic surface. I love that it includes storage organizers. I have it in one of my cabinets. It keeps my kitchen nice, neat, organized. I never have to search for my baking pans because they're all together. And when you buy the bakeware set, it will save you $200 versus buying the pieces individually. My favorite Caraway product would have to be the saucepan. It's one pan. It makes a quick dinner. I use it on most weeknights. I also, typically when I'm using that, use their FSC certified cutting boards. I can't speak highly enough about Caraway's products. Caraway's cookware set is a favorite for a reason. It can save you up to $190 when you buy the sets versus the pieces individually. Plus, if you visit carawayhome.com/gossip, you can get an additional 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners. So visit carawayhome.com/gossip or use code GOSSIP at checkout. Non-toxic cookware made modern. So I found Brittany's defense of Lisa to be erratic, out of the clear blue sky. She went in on Whitney's business just out the gate, and Whitney just gives the same energy back, and she accuses Brittany of sucking dick for money.
If only she had stopped, and I think Whitney even said this, if only she had stopped it when she goes to Brittany, well, Brittany, how do you make your money? If only she'd stopped there. But then she says, fucking dick, right?
So later in the episode, Whitney goes into her business failing, and she does it like when they're at the campsite around a bonfire, and she's saying, I had to fire 30 people, and she was pretty convincing, except Amanda and I and cocktailers have read the posts from women who knew people involved, were on the calls themselves. People paid a lot of money to go on some trip that then got canceled at the last minute. They were all out that money. It's not that they paid the money to Whitney, but like if I book a flight and a hotel and it's not refundable. So I guess with MLMs, they're not illegal. right?
No, of course not. They're not. People confuse them with like pyramid or Ponzi schemes, and they're not. There are a lot of legit ones that it is true. The earlier you get in, if you get in before, and then like really your payment is based on how many people you recruit for the business. It's generally more about that than it is about how much you're actually selling, which is
people
why
with a large
think
network.
Yeah.
Right. So people with a large network can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like I know in my Mother's Day, her friend who was an Avon lady did well because the entire group of friends use this one Avon lady, right? So yes, if you have a large network, you can make money. But generally speaking, the people at the top, as Amanda said, who get in first, make the most money. So there is this gray area because what they do is they have these calls and these seminars or whatever they call them, and they package it up like you're going to be able to earn a living and live off of it. And that's not, if you just look at the numbers of the vast majority of MLMs, that's not the case for most of them. And it's also not something that usually lasts a long time. I know a lot of people who did Beachbody, and I actually know people who did well with Beachbody. They went on the vacations. I mean, I never saw their checks, but certainly they were doing well.
Yeah.
And then that went away because things change. And there was also Rodan and Fields, which is great skincare. They actually did away recently. And now I think you just can buy it direct. So I think that influencers, social media, affiliate links, I think that probably hurt businesses like Beachbody, like Rodan and Fields.
Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't heard, and I've used Rodan and Fields. I've used Beauty Counter. And like they've all been good. The ones that I've tried have all been good, but I understand why a lot of people find them, some of these MLMs, to be scammy. I mean, we've watched.
Some of them are cool. What about Pampered Chef? I remember when I first got married, Pampered Chef was really big, and it was big for years before that too. But a couple of my friends, they had just gotten homes, and so for hosting the party, they got like a couple of free items, and it was a fun get together. You have a glass of wine, and the products were actually really nice.
Yeah.
And Amazon wasn't such a thing then, right? We're going back to like 2007, 2008. It wasn't like I could just click and order whatever, a cheese grater. Like, I don't know.
I know. People these days, you guys have no idea how easy you have it, especially with baby registry. Like, imagine a world in which you never had to go into Bye Bye Baby or any of those other baby stores and like walk down every aisle and figure everything out.
But I have to say, like, we have benefited with our kids. I really don't remember ever going to a toy store and buying my kids toys. Like, I've always ordered online.
Both. I think I've done both. But yeah, you're right.
As they get older, it's definitely harder because they're like, oh, what's in that box? And like, I know, I'm sure everyone has done this. You send it to a friend's house or a parent's house or something like that.
Right.
But like when we were little in the 80s, no, you had to go and fight somebody for that Cabbage Patch doll at Toys R Us.
You definitely did. Or people sold them out of the trunks of cars.
So, like, I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, exactly. Those were the days. I guess what I'm saying is, I think that it was an MLM. I don't think that Whitney is completely lying. But anything you do, if the product isn't good, it's not going to work.
And I think that's probably what her big mistake was, is that they didn't fully think through the product line and what they're selling and how it's working, which is what this person who was on that opportunity call. But, you know, she did say, I was really impressed, honestly, the way that she was very open and, you know, used the words, I failed. I think it takes a lot of humility.
Yeah.
And that she also admitted that she and Justin went all in and lost it all. So I believe Whitney when I don't think Whitney was scamming anybody. I think she just miserably failed. And unfortunately, it hurt a lot of people and a lot of other people lost money, not just her and Justin.
And I think that she made the mistake of thinking because she has such a platform, it would be successful without it being a great product. And I also think it was a perfect moment for her to do it because earlier in the day, they're at the lunch and Bronwyn and some of the other ladies point out how Lisa doesn't really ever put any light on any negativity surrounding her or her businesses. She just gets wild and threatens to sue. So Whitney being vulnerable was also a huge like juxtaposition to Lisa's personality. And I think that was purposeful on Whitney's part to be like, yes, my business went belly up, but let's focus on the fact that I'm completely owning it and I'm being honest. And Lisa has lawsuits. And then, oh my God, how tone deaf is Brittany when she's like, at first she's like, right? Okay, well, many times. But when Whitney is saying all of this, and Brittany's not even letting her finish. She's just like, I'm sorry. Whitney's like, okay, like, let me finish and like, stop hugging me. I'm not done talking about it. And then Brittany's like, well, I still want an apology for you saying that I suck dick for a living.
I had to rewind that scene because I was like, am I just really tired or like, what the heck happened there? Because then you could see it on the looks on everyone's faces, or she's just like, Brittany has no sense of timing. No sense of timing.
She's very erratic. That's just the word that comes to mind with her.
Well, and it's funny to me because she, like, everyone's like, where did you come from? Like, being good friends with Lisa. And, like, what I thought was really funny, and I don't know if it was intentional shade by production or not, she's like, well, we got together and we just really hit it off. And they're showing 2 pictures of them together, and it's from the same night. It's just 2 different angles.
Definitely purposeful.
Okay, and then like the other ladies call her out. They're like, wait, so that's what you've had a couple of phone, that's what this is all based on?
Well, ahead of time, Lisa made sure Meredith and Heather were in her corner, and then she kind of just pulled Brittany, and Brittany was on an island by herself.
Right.
So she was very happy to be her soldier because Bronwyn's a strong personality, and she has a lot of personal interest in going against Lisa.
Yeah.
Same with Angie.
Yeah. Well, if you all remember, guys, when we first heard that they were filming, we posted those pictures of all the ladies in a hot springs, which is what I'm guessing is going to happen on the next episode. There was a lot of speculation just publicly and in our gossip world about why Lisa wasn't on that trip.
And we got that email that told us the ladies are on a road trip. Everyone there is there except for Lisa. And they said Lisa Barlow is filming the season as per sources, but skipped the trip and instead attended the movie premieres for Another Simple Favor and The Accountant 2 in Austin, Texas. She did mention she'd be hanging out with Blake and Ben to Angie. So there you have it. The fact that it's Angie and Mary's trip, and Mary clearly has no idea of what's going on. And she's like, I don't know how my name got attached to this trip. This place is haunted. It like Salt Lake City is so camp, but naturally camp because of the women in it.
I gotta tell you, I was watching it with my husband, and I'm looking at that RV, and I'm like, I'm all for an RV situation, but I would I wouldn't do it. Sleep in an RV with 8 other women.
I was trying to figure out, like, where were they sleeping?
I
still want to see them, like, all in those beds to determine if that's actually true or if they went to a hotel.
Clothes, like,
where do they shower?
I don't think hopefully this is just one night and they're not showering. That's what I would do. I would just be like, I will shower in my own shower when I get home the next day. But at the lunch at the picnic table, they go back to why Lisa isn't there. And so you guys will also remember, we talked about this on the pod, that we heard there were rumors that Lisa was still in negotiations for more money or that she might be considering quitting the show. So none of those rumors ended up being true.
And, you know, we have a good Barlow source, and I really never believed that. I think perhaps someone in the cast put that rumor out to try to get her to film to, like, prove it wrong, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the part that doesn't really make sense to me. We know Lisa. We know she's not going to want to discuss whatever lawsuits, legal issues, money owed for her businesses, but she's going to have to. Like, Bronwyn wasted no time, called out. Angie pushed her to go into detail. Bronwyn brought up the 5 lawsuits that were publicly posted in the Salt Lake City Tribune, and I'm sure many other places, that one of them being that she's being sued for not paying back $400,000 in loans. These aren't things that could be resolved in a week. So if Lisa knew she was coming back, she could have, number one, wanted to go to those premieres, and number 2, it all seemed like it happened days before, that it was public and they could say, like, it's printed in the Tribune. So I do wonder, maybe she was just strategizing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could be.
Because she knew she was going to have to address it.
Yeah, I agree. And it was interesting because Meredith is like, well, so we're going to talk in a minute about the lawsuits, but Meredith's like, well, she's standing up for her. And she's, well, borrowing money is part of doing business, which is very interesting to me because literally last season, Meredith was harping on the fact that the Barlows used essentially like a GoFundMe to support their business to borrow money.
Crowdfunding,
yeah.
Which is also what Carl did for Softbar. But I digress. We're not going to get into that. Listen, you got to pay it back. But it isn't the same. I mean, to compare her to Jen Shah as Angie did, which she immediately took back. She doesn't have it's not a criminal lawsuit. It's a civil lawsuit. There are differences.
Right. That's true. And when she did say the state or the federal government isn't going after her, good point.
Bronwyn was called out about the necklace. She immediately took accountability, and she went so far in her confessional to say, you know what? I chose to look cool in that moment, and it was stupid. It was a mistake. I look foolish, and I own it. I didn't buy the necklace. I should have said that, but I wanted to look like the cool girl.
Yeah, I really thought I liked that as well. I swear to God, if we even did try to draw out a diagram of who's mad at each other, like it's everybody. Because Mary mentions that she's mad at Lisa, and Angie also mentions that she's still mad at Lisa for making the circle jerks comment last season.
Well, but I understand the women's point.
Yeah.
Like, she says whatever she wants, but they're all supposed to act like she's the queen of Salt Lake City and nothing bad ever happens.
Right.
And they rolled footage and they show Lisa calling everybody out.
Yeah.
And here they were with printed newspaper articles showing lawsuits with $400,000 not being paid back. It's like winner, winner, chicken dinner if you have beef and you're on a Housewives show.
So as we're watching and we're hearing about these lawsuits, because I was like, gosh, I didn't remember. I remember there being a few, but I didn't remember there being 5. And so I just made a note last night. I was like, I'm going to look into this in the morning and just do like a little mini dive on all of this. So guys, for those of you who do want to dig all the way in, the Bravo Docket did a really good podcast about Lisa Barlow and John and Vida and all of the lawsuits. But based on everything I read, here's a quick-ish summary. When we're talking about John and Lisa individually, together, or through their businesses, just know, because each of them is a little bit different, but collectively, either individually or together or through the businesses, they were sued 5 times since 2020. So keep in mind, the first season of Salt Lake City aired in November of 2020. So John and Lisa got married in 2003. They founded Vida Tequila in 2007. We know, and we've talked about this on the podcast, they have a lot of other LLCs and businesses. Lux Marketing is Lisa's business that she does the events through. Fresh Wolf is the boys' male hair care line. They have 2 other spirits businesses and a holding company that kind of owns all 3 of their liquor companies. They also had a restaurant in Park City called Silver that was only open for a year and was not successful. So the big lawsuit that the ladies are talking about is that Lisa and John owed a friend named Bart Carlson $400,000 for an unpaid personal and business expense loan that went back to 2010. So the terms on this loan, which is crazy to me, is that the loan repayment was due at any time on Carlson's demand, which tells you just how desperate they would have been for the money, because to sign a loan that has payment terms on demand is
like in full.
Yeah. So like imagine,
Yikes.
Yeah.
I'd rather get a loan from a bank at interest, which also proves that they weren't eligible for that.
On a payment schedule. And
yeah.
So a couple years into the loan, Lisa tells Bart, the guy, Carlson, not to tell John that she's been drawing money off the loan, because I guess it was set up kind of like a line of credit, because there wasn't enough left to pay for materials and products for Vida or for legal bills. So then this guy, Bart Carlson, starts paying Vida's legal bills. So adding that to the tab, essentially. Then in 2019, Lisa and John took out a home equity loan against their house. Bert Carlson asked if they could use some of that money to partially pay him back, and Lisa said no because they had to pay off 2 cars. Then in April of 2020, Carlson asked it again about the debt. Lisa didn't give him a real answer. So then finally in 2024, so this has been a 14-year thing, he finally formally demanded repayment. Nothing was paid, so Carlson sued. Lisa and John tried to get the case dismissed because the debt was so far in the past, and the judge denied that. So put a pin in that one for a second. I want to circle back on some of the other ones. You guys will remember, there were some strange SEC filings about crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, which she questioned at the time. No lawsuits to do with that, though. But a lot happened in April 2020. Because in April 2020, a man named Richard Daly sued them for unpaid debt amounting to $188,000. That case was dismissed in July 2020, which experts believe means that they paid the debt. There was also another lawsuit with someone named Stephen Allen for unpaid debt of $102,000. That was also settled in 2020, which in July of 2020, which the guess is that they paid it back. Then there was another lawsuit.
Or they settled on amount they were
settled on a, yeah.
They were able to pay. Like the guy may have been like, you know what, give me 60 and we'll call it even, or this is going to last 10 years and I want some money.
And like, this is where like we'll never know because it was settled. There was another lawsuit with a company called Financial Services Corporation for unpaid loans totaling $106,000. Financial Services Corporation is a debt collection company. Let's see. There's another one from 2022 with a man named William McGeary, where Lisa and John borrowed another $400,000 under a promissory note that had a 5% interest rate. The loan was called in for repayment in May of 2024. They didn't pay it. They got sued. Lawsuit was dismissed, which again tells us that something was paid. So we're talking over $1 million in loans, quote unquote, to the business. You guys know when we say, there's smoke, there's fire, it does appear that, because especially having read through some of these other lawsuits, one of them said that they borrowed money for materials and stuff for Vita, but then it turned out they had plenty and they had didn't even really have that many customers that year. And so the alleged guess is that they have been using loans against the business in order to essentially live above their means, which feels like housewives living over and above their means seems to be a tale as old as time. So that's
okay.
The story.
I just, there's so many things here, but the overarching thing for me is, who are all these people just willing to give them this money?
It's a lot of money too. I mean,
right? And again, we'll never know, but was it just a loan? Was it a loan where they became equity partners once they turned a profit? It had to be. Why would random men hand over hundreds of thousands of dollars to a married couple to start these businesses? It doesn't make sense.
Such a good question. So when there's an investment in a business, that is structured differently, right? And so if the business doesn't make money, then it's not the same as a loan. A loan is a loan and you have to pay it back.
And I'm just imagining if I lent $400,000 in, I think you said
2010.
And now I'm watching her live high on the hog, make a big housewife salary, do ads with Wendy's, which, make tons of money, be on red carpets with Ben Affleck and Blake Lively. Yeah, give me my fucking money back.
I'm just very curious. I would be very curious just to see obviously it's not legal to do this, but to pull their social security numbers and see if they still have outstanding loans in other situations or if they're finally catching up with their debts.
Well, certainly her income has grown.
Yeah.
Because we know she's making a good amount of money as a housewife. She's been on it for 5 seasons. She's got incredible brand deals. Save your coin. She also had another business with the Bella twins, another hair care line. I forget the name of it.
Oh.
But I anticipate a lot of screaming on Barlow's end when she's confronted with this.
Oh, yeah.
And Yeah, I doubt we're going to get any of the information from her that Amanda just shared. So thank you for that deep dive. I mean, the episode was just gold. Brittany announced her engagement, but
Having an announcement with her terrible timing. It's just.
She said, we're engaged, but we're unengaged. And then Whitney's like, yeah, I see him at the gym. He's at the gym cafe, like with women. They're like dating at the gym cafe, which is like another joke. Of course, that guy would date people at a gym cafe. You got Mary trying to cook a veggie burger on a stick.
Poor Mary.
And then Heather's crazy ghost story, which looks like it's going to, the beginning of next week is going to be like the Blair Witch Project, if you remember.
Uh-huh. My favorite, though, is when Meredith's like, we're too old for this spirit to care about us.
Yeah, I love it.
I was dying. I was like, good for you, Meredith. Like once a year, she's got a zinger.
I'm locked in.
It's so good. Oh, Bronwyn saying, I can get along with Heather as long as I sit behind her and we are in a kayak and we don't have to make eye contact.
And she says, and play second fiddle.
And play second fiddle, yep. And Heather saying that Jen Shaw is in jail where she belongs. I'm like, woo, girl. I wonder if you still would have said that knowing that she's getting out this Thanksgiving.
Oh, brother.
I know.
They better not. We heard they would never bring her back. And I know that they bring back people who do illegal white-collar crime, DUIs. She was robbing elderly people, and Andy was like, she'll never be back. So,
yeah.
And the fact that they still even bring her up, like, I would never mention her name. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction if I were them.
And I would just be scared.
Like, I never post her. I don't post her updated release. I don't post anything Jen Shaw. I have no interest in...
further platforming her. I agree. Okay, so we mentioned the Housewives Swap show. We saw the trailer this week.
So this is just a quick reminder. We said it at the top. While not all of our anonymous emails end up being completely accurate, there's almost always some truth in them, or, in this case, completely true. We had the entire cast. And we also, throughout the time they were filming, shared some sightings of the women in Cocktail Party with pictures. And I thought the trailer looked awesome. Angie K, Salt Lake City, Emily, Orange County, Melissa, Jersey, Wendy, Potomac. Really funny. Some moments look like they're going to be very touching. I don't know. I don't think, it doesn't look overly produced in the trailer. They all kind of seem like they got into the mode. So I'm excited. They're swapping with normal people. So a lot of you guys, and honestly myself too, when I first heard it, we kind of assumed that they'd be swapping with reality stars, but they're swapping with normies. So not housewives, like nobody we know. Like Wendy, for example, is just swapping with a regular family that's never been on TV, which I think will make it more authentic.
Yeah, I agree. I think the production picked their housewives well because each of these wives' families are entertaining too. You know, like Joe Gorga, funny, like giving Melissa a pillow with his picture on it.
Eddie offering his advice. Like, he was like, if I have any advice to give you, and she's like, who mentioned, where was the question production about advice? Yeah, I love them. I feel like Wendy sometimes doesn't get the best. I don't even want to call it an edit. Sometimes in the group, she acts very defensive, but I love the scenes of her and Eddie because they're so likable together. They're such a cool couple. Like, I would love to go out to dinner with Wendy and Eddie.
I have really come around on Wendy. She annoyed the crap out of me a couple of seasons ago, but redeemed herself last season, and I truly enjoy her.
Okay. I'm going there. I'm going to bring up a touchy subject.
Okay.
And, I really shouldn't, because I misspoke on this topic once, and a lot of you guys reached out, and I edited it. But I'm going to say, and a lot of you guys DM'd me, we discussed Emily sharing about her son and his struggles and possible autism diagnosis. And many cocktailers feel that she is helping others by sharing, which I do agree with. And I just think it's the way Emily delivers it. Like, I never felt that way about Jacqueline Lorita, but they're different personalities. In any event, skipping over that, in light of her ongoing concerns about her son's developmental progress and possible autism diagnosis and attachment issues and all of the things that we're hearing this season, is mom swapping appropriate for him? And again, I know it's touchy for me to say, and I know that some of you will say I sound judgy, but she shared this with us And we're watching her crying with her friends on the OC about how he's specifically very attached to her in the home. And I don't equate this to a mom having to travel for work or even a mom going on vacation with her friends, or I'm saying she is swapping another woman for a couple days in her place. It seems an odd choice, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
The thought occurred to me, but I do think Emily's a good mom and wouldn't do anything that could hurt her son. My thought is, maybe her therapist or their therapist thought it would be good for Luke to have some time away from Emily because maybe he was too attached. So, and I know that you bring this up and not in a mom judging.
Well, I actually thought of it because a lot of the cocktailers DM'd me and said, like, that's a weird choice.
Yeah, definitely after seeing this season and seeing her crying about the fact that she feels like she can't even leave the house to go on an errand, I can only imagine how tough that would have been.
It's not believing him because I think that should be something that, like, listen, moms have to travel for work. Moms have to travel for a variety of reasons, family obligations. If you have a sick parent, you may have to travel. I mean specifically swapping another woman into a mom role.
Yeah.
I guess the same could be said for any of the young kids, really. Like Melissa and Angie's kids are older. Angie's daughter's a young teenager, maybe 13. Melissa's kids are all high school or college, and her daughter is college age. But like even Wendy's kids, they're little. Like that's a little confusing. But
yeah,
I guess the pushback is the father's there. He'll explain it. It's only 2 days. It is work because she is getting a check. So that is something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Right? She's providing for her family. It just seemed a little odd on the surface. But then if you look deeper, obviously there are ways to rationalize it.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how it all works out. But it does look like it's going to be really funny. By the way, speaking of Melissa, I hadn't heard this, and so you broke it to me on the pod that Teresa had been on Jeff Lewis saying, I can film with anybody. We could bury the hatchet. This being years after of her saying she refused to film with Melissa, Joe, or Margaret. But now she's changing her tune because test filming, quote unquote, has happened without her. And they're moving forward with or without her, it seems.
So we spoke to some sources and they were like, look, is it possible that after she said this, Bravo gives her a chance? Like all things are possible, but the sources I spoke with don't see it happening because they feel like there's an inability on her part to really follow through. And that after a couple of episodes, the same old issues would come up and they took such a long break. I can tell you they really do want to have something for her, but they're struggling from what I hear to figure out what that is. She has been unable to secure a restaurant for that restaurant-themed show she wanted to do with Gia. We'll see her on Next Gen New York City. I don't think her days on Bravo are over. It's sounding to me like the train is leaving rails without her.
I'm all for it. I'm all for seeing what Jersey's like without Teresa. So the other things we've been getting this week has been a lot of RHONY back and forth. So there's been some emails, and then you've spoken to some sources that have debunked some parts of the email. So I thought I would read the original email and then kind of we can take everyone through what we know now. So it says, RHONY is finally coming together. Erin, Sai, and Jessel are the only definite women returning and will be at BravoCon. The announcement will come late when plans are finalized. Jenna is still a question mark. And then it says Nicole Daisy Toy, who is Martha Stewart's makeup artist, Erica Faye Jones, June Ambrose, who's a celebrity stylist, Chanel Jones from The Today Show, and Sarah Wettenhall, owner of the Colony Palm Beach and the Hedges in East Hamptons, are the newbies in final negotiations. It says, get ready for more wealth on RHONY, which is what fans want. Filming is set to start after the new year with a summer 2026 premiere.
My source says that while there was a hotel owner mentioned, there was a hotel owner interviewed with casting. It was a completely different person. June Ambrose has not even had a conversation with casting since 2020. Erica was considered in 2022, but not since. What I know, as things stand, Erica, Sai, and Jessel are confirmed They're looking at their auditions to be women in their 30s and 40s with young kids. But here's the thing. Carol Radziwill just confirmed she'll be at BravoCon. She doesn't fit with the 30s and 40s mold, but we've got a couple of other emails with different versions. And I feel strongly that they could cast in such a way that Carol makes sense. If Jenna or someone like her is back, they could work Carol in as a friend of.
I really do feel like Carol can fit in.
Yeah, it's not Moms of New York City. They don't have to have little kids. And look at other franchises. Shannon in OC is in her 60s. Gina is in her early 40s. It's certainly doable.
Well, and ultimately, we don't want to see the kids. We want to see the kids. Of course, we want to see the kids. But the show's not about the kids. It's about the women. And it needs to be about interesting women. So I'll read this other email. It says, "What's taking Bravo so long?" And then it's dash, not wanting to flop. "This is a make it or break it season for this city. How does this sound? Question mark. Aaron, Jessel, Jenna, Carol Radziwill, Daisy Nicole Toy, and 2 other newbies." It says,
and so now Jenna's name is back in the mix.
Which she's always on the line. I feel like it's really since the 2nd season. So
one of my buddies in the DMs, my source that always tells me follow the money and they're just brilliant and smart. They were like, B, Carol Radziwill can be worked in, but Dorinda, Ramona, Luann, Sonia, they're like characters of themselves at this point and they couldn't be worked in, whereas Carol could. And that really clicked for me.
Yeah, I do think that I believe, we saw even the pictures of these OGs getting together for a lunch. I know there's still a ton of fan interest.
Carol, Luann, Dorinda, and Sutton were at dinner this week during Fashion Week.
Dorinda is
also going to be a guest on Ladies of London. So
she even said on her show that she co-hosts with Kiki Monique that she feels like she's not still in the inside scoop, that she's not liked at Bravo and part of the Bravo family anymore, which we know not to be true.
What I think she may have been referencing, because we know that she is a guest on Ladies of London, but do you remember there were some whispers about a Vanderpump Villa type show at Bluestone Manor?
Yes.
That was quite a while ago, and crickets.
Yeah.
So maybe she was kind of referring to that, partially kidding. Obviously, she still guests on Ladies of London. She still has a show under the umbrella. Maybe she means she's not a main player anymore.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's probably what that is. But
so somebody happened to be out and spotted Sutton and Countess out for drinks this week, Fashion Week in New York. And would you like to see some of their observations?
I would love to
share them.
Tell us.
Well, we know this. The Countess is not on the wagon. She said, apparently, I don't care about water. I care about drinks. Countess vapes.
That doesn't surprise me because she also smokes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Dorinda smokes and vapes too. Countess is not shy. She was singing, dancing, publicly making out with that guy. Oh my God, by the way, remember we saw that picture and it looked like she was kissing a guy that looked like Mauricio and we were like, gotta be AI? No, that was her new gentleman friend.
Yeah.
She was wearing a bright, sparkly, skin-tight bodysuit at dinner. Okay. She was also kept kissing Sutton. I don't know if that means lips or whatever. And I don't like this. She was not nice to the bar staff.
Oh.
She was mean and entitled.
No.
Yeah. Don't like that. And apparently the bar staff didn't even know who she was. I kind of find that hard to believe. If you're in New York City, you don't know who the Countess is, unless you just got here.
I really am starting to see it more and more with my own family. Kids do not watch TV.
I know.
And so I can understand where they wouldn't, with the exception of my my daughter and one of our kids will watch some shows, but they don't really watch TV. So it doesn't surprise me that Gen Z bartenders would not know who she is.
What should we wrap up with? Because we got a bunch.
So how about that? Just a little bit of Valley tea.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
So we heard that Jeremy, Ariana's brother Ariana from Vanderpump, that he had been possibly in the mix for the Valley 2 seasons ago. And now we are hearing that he, and I guess his now fiance, because I remember he's dating an older woman I guess they're engaged, will appear on The Valley, that he has been at 2 cast events so far.
And Scheana has not been at these events. And we know that off the top of my head, one of the events was a party at Danny and Nia's, a sip and see. I don't know if it was the same sip and see with Kristen and Nia's new babies. So we had told you that Bravo wasn't happy with how much Scheana said on her book tour. And some of the stuff in her book, I think they felt that she kind of threw production under the bus. So I think she tried to ignite that feud with Lala, which Lala referred to as Scheana sheening. She's like, we're fine as far as I know. And Scheana is likely pissed at Lala, not only about the lack of support with the book, but it seems to me that Lala, who wasn't really being mentioned to be on the Valley full-time at least, essentially took her slot. And I have to say, a lot of you guys in my DMs, Amanda, you might want to cover your ears, are feeling that it's unfair. Like you're kind of being like, whether you love Scheana or hate her, she does bring a lot, give a lot, orchestrate a lot, stir the pot a lot. And it's kind of like they feel like they just take the network production, whoever it is, takes her for granted and kind of like uses what she gives them and then doesn't like necessarily showcase her, if that makes sense.
Well, I will say, guys, and I said this earlier this summer, like respect on Scheana's name for keeping herself on television all these years. I could make some comparisons to things that keep coming back, but I won't. I just know that she'll find a way because she always has. So I'm sure we'll see her. I think she's just having to take her medicine right now.
Yeah, I think we'll see her. I just think that it's a smaller role than she had hoped.
Yeah.
Probably similar to the role she had last year. And like, oddly enough, she wasn't there, but Nia thanked her for the dessert platter in the picture she shared. Oh. Which, like, I don't know. It kind of like is kind of sad for her.
I mean, can you imagine though, Scheana is like, I shared this whole affair thing in this book and now I'm getting essentially backburnered.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get a chance to talk about it on the Valley. That's got to be burning.
I have to imagine that they also like reprimand her about stuff she says on her pod and like, you know, and she probably just doesn't listen and then plays dumb. We know how she Sheena's.
Yeah, she Sheena's.
She Sheena's. We love you guys. Till next time.
Bye.
Cocktailers, see you at the Zoom on Wednesday.
Yes. Bye.
What's up, cocktailers? We want to thank you, as always, for listening to Cocktails and Gossip. Because of you, we've hit some amazing milestones, had some hilarious conversations, and have grown a truly amazing community. If you haven't already followed our podcast, hit the follow button in the top right of your Apple Podcast player, the follow button under the show logo on Spotify, or the subscribe button on Google Podcasts. We thrive on you, our audience. So make sure to tell all your gossip-loving friends about us too. And if you want to get all the tea, join our membership cocktail party by going to bravoandcocktails.com/join. Our members get access to the exclusive tea we post, the weekly podcast without ads, plus another additional bonus podcast every week. And of course, members also get to join us on our monthly live cocktail party Zoom, where we talk about the latest tea and even share tea that's just too hot to put in writing. Last, but maybe best, our members get access to the Cocktail Party Discord, where you can chat with Amanda, me, and all of the other cocktailers as well. There are always some great convos and hilarious comments happening in Discord. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.